What is up, guys? LCX, the crypto first mover, will explode soon. I definitely see $8 possible for this, and we will get into exactly why I think that. But first, cue my guy Indigo Saint. Let's get it. Boom. Let's get it. Indigo Saint in the building. Blackrue Investing. Let's go.
Who's this producer?
Best believe it was Blackrue Investing. With your money, you ain't gotta be guessing. Profits is what we manifesting. So we binge on our Blackrue Investing. Best believe it was Blackrue Investing. That course in this race, we ain't resting. We got stocks, we got crypto with a blessing. So thank God for that Blackrue Investing. Best believe it was Blackrue Investing.
And let's cue our affiliate, DCENT Wallet, now. Your crypto deserves the best protection. So why settle for less? DCENT Crypto Wallet isn't just another wallet. It's safe, secure, easy to use, and supports your favorite cryptocurrencies all at the touch of a button. And now with my exclusive link, you'll save $30 on your new wallet. Better security, smarter investing, $30 in your pocket. Click on the link now and secure your better security today. One of the best ways you can help yourself and help the channel is to buy a DCENT wallet. What I really like about DCENT is that you can do the swaps inside of the wallet. They have their own swap, okay? And they have a phone app in which you can do these swaps on and daily check your balance, okay? You can do Ethereum contracts. You can do Binance contracts. Pretty much everything, you know, XPR, XCN, ZEBEC, so Solana contracts, all on the DCENT wallet. Really love that. And right here, if you guys want to look into perpetual futures trading, free USDT if you fund your account on BTCC there. And if you check out the Patreon, we have 8 videos teaching you how to futures trade, teaching you how to look at charts and take advantage of small moves in the market. So definitely check that out on the Patreon. We also have exclusive weekly videos with Max and Crypto Future, all in the Patreon. Definitely check that out. But let's get into it here. Let me share the screen. We have here, I think that's actually better. We have here LCX's price. So you can see it's up a little bit here, about 20 or 30% in the last couple weeks. But again, if you listen to what LCX has going on, which we'll play a video here from the CEO, Monty Metzger, coming up right here, and you will really understand that $1 is possible. LCX will be a blockchain bank. Let's go ahead and look at that video right now. So we'll play it a little bit faster.
Welcome to the special interview at Dubai Token 2049 with Monty Metzger, the CEO and founder of LCX. Monty, welcome to Crypto Weekly on CNBC Arabia.
Happy to be here.
So I want to discuss a couple topics today about what's happening in Europe and also your views on the market. But before, for the benefit of our audience, can you share with us what is LCX and what do you guys particularly do?
Yeah. So LCX stands for the Liechtenstein Crypto Assets Exchange. We are now celebrating this month 7 years anniversary. So we are
7 has been really big this year.
kind of a pioneer now in the space, and the vision was always to bridge traditional finance with blockchain innovation and having regulation from day one.
So LCX has had regulation from day one. If you guys are new to my channel, I've been talking about LCX for years, and LCX was the guinea pig for the MiCA laws. So when they started writing the MiCA laws, they started with LCX Exchange, okay? So that literally, it's like almost like the laws were written for them because they started with them and created the laws. Like kind of just like that, okay?
So when he says they started with regulation from day one, he truly means it. It's not hyperbole. They started with them first.
And now, 7 years later, we are one of the fastest growing regulated crypto exchanges in Europe, strong euro pairs, 200 assets on the platform, and the spot crypto exchange is really the core product which we're offering. And everybody's proud to have an account in Liechtenstein.
We'll talk about Liechtenstein in a second. I just want to mention Europe. You mentioned regulation as something that 7 years ago, crypto companies could only dream about. What's your view on MiCA? We get a lot of mixed, let's say, reactions on MiCA. What's your perspective as somebody, a CEO of a crypto exchange in Liechtenstein?
So the industry always demanded some rules and regulation. Like, we want to play with the rules and basically also enable the traditional players to enter the market. This is what we are now seeing as a tipping point where regulation gives a playing field where we can onboard institution, banks, and everything.
So again, we know that it's been a thing in which regulation needed to come to crypto, and in order for institutions to get into cryptocurrency, it needs to be regulated first. So this is what the Trump administration has been doing, and hats off to them. They've been delivering on their promise as far as what they've been talking about with crypto. Like, you can now do DeFi lending, which you could not do before. The whole Genius Act has flipped things on its head as far as cryptocurrency is concerned. And shout out to the Trump administration. They're doing what they said they were going to do.
For us, it means basically giving a secure and trustful platform to our users. This is what we've done from day one with being kind of a hidden champion in Europe. So we always had to ask a little bit more questions, had a stronger KYC process. But this now turns into the key advantage, an unfair advantage, because we are now regulated so many years. And this helps us to get to the next level with markets.
Like I said, they've been regulated for years. Again, they were the guinea pigs for the MiCA laws.
Crypto assets regulation in Europe.
About Liechtenstein, for example, we're here now in Dubai, in the UAE, and the UAE had this fast mover.
And if you're not familiar with where Liechtenstein is it's right next to Switzerland. And understand, LCX is a member of the World Economic Forum. Okay, that happens in Davos, which is in Switzerland. So they're right next door to the World Economic Forum. They're right next door to all the biggest banks, TradFi banks in the world. So when I say LCX can be a blockchain bank, it's not hyperbole. I'm not kidding. It's not cap. They're uniquely positioned right now in Liechtenstein to be right next to the world's biggest banks and to be literally the blockchain conduit for them. As a matter of fact, on the World Economic Forum website, it used to say that LCX will be a blockchain bank. I made a short on that, and they ended up taking that down from the World Economic Forum website. But if you check out my shorts, you will probably see it. So go look for that on my shorts. We might play it here if we have some time.
Advantage. And you can argue Liechtenstein had that fast an opportunity, grabbed the opportunity when it came a couple of years ago. What's your view as Liechtenstein as a place to set up a crypto business?
So Liechtenstein is in the heart of Europe, next to Switzerland. It is the country with the highest GDP in the world per capita, only 38,000 population. So it's the sixth smallest country in the world, but it's known as a financial hub. For us, it's a perfect place because it is part of the European Economic Area where we can have one license, a MiCA license in the future, where we can then target 30 countries, 20 languages. And
so he said a lot there. So with the MiCA license, basically they wrote it, like I said, it's like they wrote it for LCX. Just by having that MiCA license, they can now use that license and use it in any country in the European Union. So basically, they take it and they can use it for any country in the European Union. LCX was the first to get this license, so they're regulated for MiCA. They're regulated to go to any country in the European Union. Okay.
450 million population.
Makes it interesting.
And also, he described Liechtenstein being this really small country, highest GDP, per capita. So they're very, very rich. It's a very, very rich country. So let's continue.
From an LCX perspective, when you look at the future of crypto exchanges and crypto platforms, how do you see that's going to evolve over the coming years? Do you believe we'll see more? What type of products, offerings, and experience do you believe exchanges will need to have in the next couple of years?
So there's a saying that US innovates, Asia duplicates, and Europe regulates. So we've done it again, but this now turns into the advantage. And you're right, like what's ahead for us at LCX is a global roadmap. We're expanding globally. We're coming to MENA region. We are now taking this unfair advantage of regulation over the years and scale it up. So MENA is on the roadmap, but US as well. I mean, we're very excited what's happening over there, and we'll be opening our US new headquarters there pretty.
So they were in the U.S. and then, you know, laws and everything and Gensler and all of that, and they got out of the U.S. and now they're coming back to the U.S.
soon.
And you believe the opportunity set, of course, post-Trump arrival and regulations becoming clearer now than they were definitely a couple of months ago. What do you find particularly interesting in the U.S.? Because obviously a lot of the big U.S. firms are already there. What is the niche or the benefit or the advantage that the LCX can provide when as you open up in the U.S.?
Yeah, so as said, we are taking this advantage of being regulated for many years, now coming over to the US. We are expecting that there's also a legal framework being rolled out pretty soon. I think the team there with David Sachs and Bo Hines are working on it already. So we're expecting.
So you see how cool he said that? Like, we're expecting it to happen, right? We're expecting a law to roll out. Write in the comments if it's not so. Isn't it so telling that he just says we're expecting it? It's not even a question. He's like we're expecting it. It's almost like he called David Sachs Dave, like they know each other on the first name basis, which I'm probably sure they do. Okay. Because I know Monty Metzger got a invite to the crypto ball that they had early when Trump got elected, and he was like, "Yo, Prez, I can't make it because I got to go to this WEF thing. I got to go to the World Economic Forum thing." So all that stuff about the World Economic Forum just being a think tank, if it was just a think tank, he would have turned down the World Economic Forum and gone to what the American president wanted him to go to. The World Economic Forum is definitely more than a think tank. Again, if you think like I think, it's very telling that he says we're just expecting this. Write something in the comments to let me know that you see what I see.
So as said, we are taking this advantage of being regulated for many years, now coming over to the US. We are expecting that there's also a legal framework being rolled out pretty soon. I think the team there with David Sachs and Bo Hines are working on it already.
So they're just expecting legal framework to just be rolled out. They're just expecting it.
So we're expecting also a Market Infrastructure Act. And there, a lot of people are watching what had been done in Liechtenstein. Also, MiCA had been inspired by a lot of the learnings because now it's in full force since 2020.
So since 2020, I'm not going to go and check this, but I think they told us about MiCA first in 2022. So again, a lot of times when we get the news, we don't realize that they've been working on this stuff for years before we get news, or, you know, NDAs are signed and they choose when they want to tell us the news. So keep that in mind. So actually, LCX has been regulated for 5 years. Okay. They only told us about MiCA in 2022, and they only made it a for real thing, like a couple months ago. That's just so interesting. That's so interesting. Well, let's continue.
Gained 8 registrations over there and now transforming them into the MiCA license. And one particular interesting, unique one in Liechtenstein is called the physical validator, which is a role particular made for the future of tokenization, bridging physical to digital assets.
So they have this physical validator that is specifically, he almost said, I think he was almost going to say that it was made for specifically for LCX, but he changed his verbiage. Maybe it was made specifically for LCX. Now, if it was, 14 cents for LCX is just going to be peanuts. Imagine a blockchain bank, right? How much do bank stocks, big bank stocks, trade for in the U.S. stock market? Now imagine you got to buy Bank of America at 14 cents. Imagine now you got to buy JP Morgan Chase 14 cents. Imagine, like, shall I go on? Wells Fargo. Imagine you buy Wells Fargo at 14 cents. This is what LCX is.
When it comes to tokenization, how do you see the outlook and what?
So this physical validator makes them a leader in tokenization. Okay, just understand that, especially when it comes to MiCA in Europe.
Assets. Do you believe we'll have a lot of upside on the tokenization side? You think we'll have treasuries like we're seeing right now in the whole RWA space, or you believe it'll be what we initially thought a couple of years ago will be the tokenized assets, real estate and other such illiquid assets?
You're right, like we're not only building a crypto exchange, we're building an infrastructure for the digital future of finance and monetary systems. And for this, tokenization is key, because everything that can be tokenized will be tokenized, whether it's financial assets to real world assets, to gold, to silver, commodities, real estate, everything will be put on the chain. And blockchain is to the letter what blockchain is to the money what email was to the letter. With that change, it's a fundamental change for the banking industry. And we do see tokenization as a turning point for the crypto industry. We're now a few $1 trillion in market.
So when he says everything that can be tokenized will be tokenized, and we think about it as physical, right? And this just kind of came to me, right? What if your future time was tokenized, right? I know Dragon Chain owns the patent for time, okay? So that's going to be very interesting with Dragon Chain, right? Which is why I'm high on them. Definitely check out my video with the Dragon Chain CEO, okay? What if your future time is tokenized? Think about how things are heading as far as inflation. People are really going to need tokenization and lending, right? Because the way things are going with the US dollar, it's just losing value. Fortunately for us as crypto investors, cryptos are just gaining value. So these digital assets may actually be worth more than the physical assets one day, right? And in Bitcoin's case, it is more. It is worth more than gold at this point. It is worth more than gold at this point. So, imagine now we have to tokenize your future time because the way that the dollar is going, we need that to be tokenized, and we're going to put that on a lending platform. More on lending platforms coming up soon.
Cap overall, but if we talk about tokenization, we will be unlocking 10 times more of assets. There's prediction until 2030 will be $30 trillion being tokenized.
Now think about that, 30 trillion. He's right with that, right? Think about what I said with future time. Well, if you don't think even about future time, let's think about derivatives, right? Let's think about sports betting. Let's think about stocks. Let's think about cryptos. Let's think about commodities, oil, land, carbon credits. You name it, right? What is it? Prop bets. Bets on how many times Trump is going to say huge. Like you name it. Pokemon cards, digital art, there's just so much, right? There's just so much. All of that will be tokenized. All of that can be used as collateral. All of that can be used to lend and do DeFi on.
There's an opportunity to now roll out LCX tokenization framework, and we've just announced LCX Gold, LCX Silver, and LCX Platinum.
Well, here you go. Interesting on that side to provide that real world asset on with gold and others. What's keeping you up at night though? When you look at there's a lot of risk in the crypto space. What is the one that it keeps you up at night as a crypto CEO, a crypto exchange CEO, that you think for the ecosystem could be a potential roadblock down the line?
So what keeps me up at night is basically our community is at the core. We have our core company cultures is excellence, unity, and integrity. So we want to do things right, but what keeps me up at night is really that we want to provide the best service to our users. And this is now turns into why people love LCX, because we always have been the more reliable, the more trustworthy. So that we're talking about crypto integrity, which had been needed for many years in the market, and what we are now rolling out on LCX.com.
So customers want integrity is always key. Thank you very much. That was a very
Well, good for Monty was for like kind of redirecting the fear porn and not saying like, I want to be. He says, I want to be integrous to my customers. That's what keeps me up at night. Being like having integrity with my customers. So good for him for that. So this is very, very telling here. Very good interview.
side on the LCX side. That was Monty Metzger, the CEO and founder of LCX. Thanks for being with us today.
Okay, great interview there. Now, one of the things that just recently happened was that LCX listed XPR. So let me see if I can bring that up. So LCX listed XPR, and that's huge for XPR. That's huge for LCX to have those tokens on hand for them. They must really believe in XPR. I know they put it up to a crowd vote and all of that, but it's huge that they're going to have XPR on their blockchain. Okay, it's going to be huge that they're going to have them on their blockchain. This also should mean that XPR is probably MiCA compliant as well. So huge news for XPR. Now, the reason I wanted to bring that up first is LCX now has crypto payments. LCX Pay. Crypto payments made easy. Send, receive, pay, all within the LCX ecosystem, instantly and securely, no hassle. Now, remember when Simon Bebekani of ZEBEC, who's now the CEO, shout out to him. Sam's still involved with the project. He's still the founder. He's still going to be on the leadership team. And probably still going to lead the tech. But I digress. LCX Pay may be using either Metallicus or ZEBEC underneath the covers. Because remember, Simon told us, hey, we can take our thing and we can white label it. We can just give it, we can white label it to people. So maybe they're using either Metallicus, which I'm sure Metallicus could white label their system, or ZEBEC for this. Because now that they've listed XPR, maybe they already had in the background that they were going to use XPR's payment system. And maybe they use ZEBEC now because they are a partner with Ondo. So check this out. LCX Exchange is now a partner with Ondo. They're listed on their ecosystem, just like ZEBEC. Okay, so what I'm really taking away from this is lending is definitely going to be needed. With all this inflation, what can be tokenized will be tokenized. Lending is going to be very huge. Maybe we even tokenize a person's future time. We already kind of know that anyway, right? with the payday loans that ZEBEC says they're going to do, and they're going to be the first mover in that. Never been done before. When you really think about payday loans, really what that is doing is tokenizing your future time. That's what it's really doing. So, shout out to ZEBEC, shout out to LCX, shout out to XPR. Lending platforms are going to be very, very huge. With LCX Pay, this opens up the ability for LCX to do lending. So they will be the first mover on that. In Europe, with their MiCA laws, and let's go ahead and show the physical validator that they have here. So with the physical validator here, so end-to-end tokenization framework announcement, real world assets legally tokenized. We believe tokenization reshapes finance by connecting real world value with secure blockchain based ownership. Today, we are introducing our end-to-end tokenization framework, a regulated solution for turning physical assets into compliant digital tokens. This framework is built for asset owners and institutions seeking legal certainty, technical transparency, and market-ready infrastructure. From gold bars to luxury watches to fine art and rare collectibles or future time, like we just said, to digital assets, to real estate, etc. Each step is anchored in Liechtenstein's legal framework, aligned with the European Economic Area's regulatory standards and designed to meet the highest thresholds for custody, issuance, and trading integrity. Here's how it works. At LCX, we offer a complete suite of regulated tokenization services, transforming real-world assets into legally compliant blockchain-based digital assets. Our approach is grounded in the Liechtenstein Blockchain Act, TVTG, and the Token Container Model, TCM, which provide a robust legal framework for representing and transferring rights on the blockchain. So this is very interesting. Basically, they're saying legally we have the right to say your house is now tokenized into this, like whatever your deed is. Your deed is now tokenized on our blockchain, which we can represent in a certain cryptocurrency. Like we have the legal binding for that. Because contracts are what runs our realm. Contracts, right? Smart contracts, right? So now they can say they're taking this physical thing, putting it into a digital contract, and now being able to tokenize it. And now from the tokenization, you can do any DeFi on it. You can stake it. You can lend it. You can borrow, okay? Again, loan is going to be very important. So with LCX Pay and all of these legal things taken care of, LCX can now do this legally. Each service in our tokenization lifecycle operates independently, but together they create a fully integrated pipeline from physical validation to compliant trading, designed for institutions and asset owners who demand security, transparency, and legal enforceability. Okay, so once you have that contract, you now can enforce that you have to abide by that contract. So if you're going to make a loan out on these digital assets and you don't meet that loan, then you're liquidated. If you lend these out and you get paid a premium, you can have passive income for the rest of your life. So you know what I mean? You're going to have to be, people are going to have to be very, very careful with how they use tokenization. But for those who know about passive income and things like that, tokenization is going to be great for you. For those who may need to take a loan and may need to do lending, borrowing, you know what I mean? Who need to do borrowing, it might not work as well for you guys. But as investors, This is going to be awesome for us. So as Monty was mentioning, LCX is the world's first company officially registered as a physical validator. Under the TVTG, this regulatory status authorizes us to verify the authenticity, condition, and existence of physical assets intended for tokenization. Once validated, these assets are securely stored in a high security vault operated by independent third parties in Liechtenstein. So, hey, what if you're trying to tokenize time? So now you would just kind of put it into a contract, like how with a deed, that deed is representative of the house you own. So now that deed can be locked up and then tokenized, right? Same thing with your time. If you sign a contract that says, I'm going to tokenize this future time, then now it's tokenized, okay? And now you can be entered into a legal binding contract, okay? These facilities operate under strict procedures, including the 4 Eyes principle, ensuring maximum oversight and integrity. The dual service, validation, and custody forms the legal and operational foundation for token issuance. It guarantees that the digital tokens issued by LCX are backed one for one by physical counterparts and carry enforceable ownership rights, giving the token holders a direct legal claim to the underlying assets under Liechtenstein law. Okay, so they have been given the right to be a physical validator, which says that they can validate that this physical legally that this physical object is right and true and exists, and it can be used and tokenized on the blockchain. So this is going to be a huge first mover advantage for LCX, especially in the MICA region, probably also in the MENA region. So when you think about this being a blockchain bank, imagine now having JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, or Bank of America at 13 to 14 cents. Now imagine that. Now imagine that there were laws written specifically for this bank, right? That allows it to succeed over other banks. This is LCX. This is LCX, and this is why I've been high on LCX for years. And we see here Star of David. I don't know, and I think this is called maybe a Merkaba or something. I'm not sure, but we definitely got the Star of David there, and we have a chain here, like a chain, right? And what is a chain? But a gateway, right? A gateway or a bridge, okay? Just so happens that this chain is also 2 polygons, 2 6-sided shapes. So that's neither here nor there, but it's interesting that they chose to give us these shapes. I don't know if these other ones, these 3 arrows or something, mean something, or if this one means something, but I definitely know that the chain and the star definitely mean something, right? So very, very interesting here from LCX. The physical validator law, the partnership with Ondo, the LCX Pay, right? Which is going to open them up for lending and borrowing in DeFi. Really sets LCX ahead. And I think when the whole ISO goes live 11/22/25 for the rest of the world, LCX is going to go bananas. Okay, bananas. So again, if you're looking at the price that I showed you at the beginning of the show and saying, well, it's already at 14 cents, this is going to be peanuts compared to where it's going to go. And it's under like a billion supply. You can go do your own research and check that. I just know that off the top of my head because I've done so many LCX shows. Like easily $1 to me seems very, very feasible for LCX before the end of the year. All right, that's less than a 10x. That'll be like a 9x from here, maybe 8x from here because it's at 14 cents. Very, very, very high on LCX. $1 even might be an understatement for them, right? So let's see here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm definitely high on LCX. If you made it to the end of the show, please put LCX in the comments and I'll know that you made it to the end. Definitely, we made it to 7,000 subscribers. I'm very, very stoked about that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm out. Peace.